Oh hey, I'm Max Sterling. Welcome to larpgasm. So, a long time ago, one YouTuber tagged another one with the Larp Tag. And a whole bunch of LARPers that have YouTube channels all made videos about it. Well, I didn't have a channel back in those days, so I decided to go ahead and make a video because basically some of the YouTubers that did these videos back in the day essentially tagged any LARPer on YouTube to go ahead and make a video. So here's my video. The first question is, who was your first character? Well, my first character was a half-orc. His name was Adamax. It was actually sort of a play on my name. And I remember going to that first event. I took an old work uniform. It was like a Dickies type work uniform. It was a button-down shirt and pants. They were both green. I cut the bottom of the pants off so that they were like shorts, like something like the Incredible Hulk would have. And cut the sleeves all ragged and cut the bottom of the shirt all jagged. And pulled the name badge off of it, and I made a purple half cape. I shit you not, purple, and wore that thing around my neck. Oh my god! The weapon I made, I shit you not. Someone was like, "Get a piece of pipe, put pipe insulation on it, wrap it in duct tape." I went out, bought a piece of copper tubing, about 4 foot long. Put pipe insulation on it, wrapped that duct tape around it as tight as I could get it. And I ended up having basically a fucking baseball bat. Luckily, the people I was going with saw this shit, and they were like, oh no, that's not fucking what you do. So I got myself a proper boffer built before I went out of plastic piping and everything. I taped it the correct way. It still weighed a ton, but at least it was safe for the game purposes. So I got there, and Warcraft was real big at the time. Not World of Warcraft, Warcraft. The first Warcraft game. And I was really, into orcs, and I really wanted to play an orc, but you couldn't play a full orc at this game. You had to be a half-orc, which I thought was stupid, but I was going to give it a shot. Luckily, some folks there, they had some face paint and stuff. They were real cool. They let me borrow some, so I painted my whole face, my chest, my hands, basically every part of my body that was sticking out, I painted green. I wanted, even back then, to have full immersion and to basically look as good as I could, or at least as good as I thought I could. And, it was a nice summer day, and, that was it. I learned very quickly at that event that this is not what I wanted to do. My second event, I was a human. I dropped the name from Adamax just down to Max to make it a hell of a lot easier on myself in and out of game, and changed the costume immediately. I never wore that fucked up costume again, and it's all been uphill, from there. Things getting better, me getting more elaborate, and just every year, I try to be a little bit better than I was the year before. So that was the first character, Adamax the half-orc. My favorite NPC to play. Well, I don't really have a favorite NPC to play. I know a lot of people are usually like, oh, I want to be the big guy. I want to, kill them. I want to be the tough guy. Blah, blah, blah. My PC is really tough. I don't feel like I need to play these uber characters all the time because when I PC, I am a fucking uber character, so I don't need the power trip. I get the power trip enough normally. I don't really need to get off on being these invincible god NPCs. So I don't need that. So what I enjoy is actually playing the simpler NPCs. Shit that has one hit and it's dead. And trying to basically talk my way out of situations and do a lot of role playing as opposed to fighting. Now, obviously, if you're being sent in as just these respawning spiders or skeletons or some bullshit, I act the part, I walk out, I die, turn around, come back and die, and so on and so forth. But, from something else, I try to play them as though every character is a PC. My NPC characters aren't NPCs to me. They're all PC characters up until the point they die, and I'm playing something else. However, sometimes it's fun, to play the big bad guys, but most of the time it's a lot of hassle, so I tend to actually stray away from that shit. And I really prefer just to sort of do the grunt work when I NPC and just sort of be low key and go out and just interact with as many people as I can and have as much fun as I can. So, like I said, I don't think I really have a favorite type. But if I did have to choose, I would rather play characters that are close to my own character skill-wise, because I feel as though I can do the most damage as those type of characters. So I tend to prefer things like dark elves, assassins, rogues, things of that nature, because I know the skills, I know how to get that type of job done, and if I can get people in a choke point or something, I can really fuck up their day. So if I wanted to feel like some sort of uber thing, you know, that's the type of character I would want to play, something that's familiar to me. However, I certainly don't mind playing mages and stuff every once in a while. It's just, if it's something important that needs to happen, because I'm not as comfortable playing those roles, I'll usually pass on those and let someone who's more familiar with spellcasting and stuff do those type of things. My character's most prized possession. So, I'm going to just keep talking about Max because he's my primary LARP character and I've been playing him the longest. So, as far as for Max, most prized possession is pretty easy. I don't have a lot of possessions. Because of the type of character I am, I don't want to give anyone really any reason to kill me. I almost have nothing as far as in-game is concerned. Like, I don't even really have very much money. So, if you kill me, the only thing you're really going to take from me is basically my life. I have almost no possessions. It's really incredible for someone who's been playing as long as I have to have no possessions. But anytime I come into any sort of possessions, I usually sell them or give them away or get rid of them right away, because I don't want to give anyone any added incentive to kill the bad guy. So if people feel like they're going to kill me and there's no prize involved, I think, you know, they tend to shy away from it. So my most prized possession is actually something that I win. I win it every year. They have a brewing competition once a year. It started a few years ago. And basically I've won every year at this brewing competition, except for one year. My wife won. But I mixed up the drink anyways, so... you win a mug, has your name engraved on it, and I just like carrying that around because it's a status symbol, and I can say basically, hey, you know, I make the best brews. I'm not even a dwarf, and my brews that I make are the best, you know. So basically, and as far as you know, the status and stuff, I enjoy being able to sort of brag about that. So that's my most prized possession. It doesn't really do anything, at least for me, other than just say, hey, you know, look at me, and that makes me happy. My first, or how long have I been LARPing? Well, I started when I was 16, so it's been over 20 years, and I've been playing pretty consistently the whole time. Even when I went to college, when I came home in the summer times, I would still play. So I would say I've been playing basically consecutively for over 20 years at this one LARP, and then, you know, with other LARPs occasionally sprinkled in, and then, you know, I try to attend as many as I can, but sometimes life gets in the way and, you know, I gotta pick and choose. But when it push comes to shove, I almost always choose my primary LARP over other ones, just because I think that I enjoy that one the most. Plus, it's close to where I live, so there's no reason not to go. First game experience, that's easy. It was at my primary LARP, playing Adamax the half-orc. It was a one-day event, which is basically from like 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we went, and something happened, and we were all whisked away to a alternative dimension where everything was chaotic and messed up. Like spells had to be spoken backwards, and like, you know, east was west. Skills didn't work the same way they normally should, and it took a lot of adjusting. It was just really sort of a weird place, and we had to open a lock to get back, and the key for the lock was actually this animated key. And what they did was they took one of my friends I went to high school with, who was actually a pretty avid cross-country runner. So this son of a bitch is here in a t-shirt, shorts, and running shoes. Runs cross-country, all the fucking time. And he's the key. Here we are in armor with weapons, you know, costume garb, and we have to chase this son of a bitch down through the woods. It took us all day to catch this motherfucker, and I'm pretty sure in the end, really, he was just tired from running all day, and that's what allowed us to catch him. But we got him, opened the lock, escaped the dimension, and, you know, won. So basically, that was my first experience. I remember it all, you know, fairly well, because it's my first one. Now, all the other 20 years worth, who knows? A lot of that's just lost to space, but I do remember the first event pretty well. What Disney character fits my LARP character best? I would say that Max is probably, probably not really like any Disney characters, but if I had to say, I'd probably say I'm maybe along the lines of like Mr. Dark from Something Wicked This Way Comes, mixed with Flynn from Tangled. So like a pretty seriously evil dude, but with a lot of charisma, sort of douchey, debonair, you know, sarcastic, carefree, you know, sort of attitude. So, you know, on this end, you know, I run an Assassin's Guild. You know, if there's a chance for me to kill you or steal from you, like, I will fucking take it in a heartbeat. I don't even care if you're in my group or you're my best friend. I will fucking kill you. I will cut your goddamn head off and steal your coins. However, you see me drinking in the bar, I'm this happy-go-lucky guy. Hey, I like to brew as a side hobby, and, you know, hey, let me sing you a song, or tell you a tale, or crack a joke, or, you know, act like a sarcastic ass here, you know, or be a little bit douchey, you know, when we go on this little adventure here. And that's the side that people get to see. They see, you know, the facade, what I choose to show them. And then over here is what's really happening. So, pretty deep stuff. I mean, I lead an Assassin's Guild. I'm married to a fucking mind flayer. Okay? And just tons of other evil stuff that I'm not even going to mention because I don't want it to get metagamed by douchebags at my primary LARP. No offense to the people that go there, but it can happen. So I would say that that's sort of my character in a nutshell. But basically, I'm pretty fun to be around. Just don't catch me when I need money for something, and don't walk alone with me into the woods at dark after you've had a few drinks, because you're probably not going to come back. If I could play anything, even outside of my genre, what would it be? Well, I play a couple of different LARPs, so I do get to play things outside of my medieval fantasy genre. So I can tell you that I really enjoy that genre, like Lord of the Rings, you know, D&D type shit. Love it. It's fun. Killing dragons, all that crap. Good time. But I really like playing post-apocalyptic and cyberpunk type stuff. So playing like a vault dweller, like from Fallout, to me that's fun. You sort of come out, everything's fucked up. You're sort of, you know, in the dark about what's going on. You know, you got sort of that, you know, 50s sort of mind frame, and, you know, just you're lost in this cruel, evil world, and you've got to get up to speed and start running right away. I think I like that type of character. So I think that that's probably what I would want to play. In fact, I go to an airsoft LARP that's Fallout themed, and it's probably the most fun I've ever had. If you've never been to an airsoft LARP, check one out. Compared to medieval fantasy, there is no comparison. When you fight medieval fantasy, fights can take, you know, they can take a couple seconds, but sometimes fights can take, you know, 10 minutes or more, depending on how well the person you're fighting is fighting, depending on what the rule system is, like if you have hit points and stuff. Fights can drag out forever. Airsoft isn't like that, because when you're talking about fully automatic weapons, you can die in a heartbeat. And you gotta seriously dive into bushes, you know, dive behind cover, hide behind trees and shit, because it is just so much more fast-paced and frightening that you are actually scared. Airsoft LARPs put the fear back into LARPing, and I really enjoy that. what fictional world would you like to LARP and why? Well, while I really do enjoy like Fallout and medieval fantasy, I would actually really like to play a sci-fi themed game, something like Star Trek or Star Wars, but it would need to be a good combination of physical combat and role-playing. I wouldn't want to play like a World of Darkness type game because I don't like a lot of the politics, I don't like a lot of the talking. I would want a fair mix of action and role-playing. And I think it would be hard to do the immersion on a game like that because of if you're set on like a spaceship or a space station or something. I think unless you were inside of a building and you really set it up well, I don't know that you'd be able to have the immersion real well. Your imagination would have to be working overtime to kind of pull that out. Yeah, but if I could see one of those really well executed, even if it was very small scale, I'd really like to do something like that. I don't know that there's games like that out there, but I think it could be, you know, a hell of a lot of fun to play something like that. Weapon of choice. Well, for me personally, it's sword and board. Shield, longsword, to me, is an unbeatable combination. And I know people will argue, you know, to the ends of the earth about, you know, what's better or what they prefer. But for me, you cannot go wrong with a sword and a shield. That shield is worth its weight in gold. If you know how to fight, it doesn't matter how many hit points you have. You can block hits. If you can stop the hits from hitting you, it doesn't fucking matter. All you got to do is stop the hits and kill them. That shield is fantastic. And longsword, I don't know why you would ever want a sword less than maximum length. All of my weapons are always right tickling the fucking ruler at the edge of maximum length, okay? That extra centimeter could be the difference between killing the person on the other end or not. So, longsword, shield, my preferred weapons in medieval fantasy. As far as other games, anything fully automatic. Now, a lot of games don't let you do full auto, so if I'm in a game where I'm using like Nerf guns and I have to do single shot or something, fuck that. I would still go sword and shield and I would fuck some shit up. If the game allows you to block projectiles with your shield, forget about it. Nerf arrows are not that hard to dodge. Throwing packets are not that hard to dodge, and blocking them with a shield, you can block that shit with a shield so easily if they allow you to do that at your LARP. So I would still go sword and shield. Plus, if you know anything about anything, the 21-foot rule, trust me, sometimes it's better to bring a knife to a gunfight. If you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, look into it. So, sword and shield, my preferred weapon / defensive choice. However, as Max, I fight Florentine, 2 longswords. Oh, why do you use 2 longswords? You should have a short sword and a long sword. Dude, it's a fucking LARP. The swords weigh a couple of like grams, okay? They are light as fuck. I use 2 longswords max length because that's what works for me. I have been at this LARP for so long that I can afford to soak damage in favor of DPS. I can fight sloppy, okay, in favor of killing things faster. So I will let a lot of shit slide that I would never let slide as a lower level character just because I can afford to take it in order to kill faster. So most of my experience, I'm behind you anyways. So I can hit you 3 or 4 times or more before you even turn around, okay, to realize who's hitting you. If I had a single weapon, you know, maybe I bop you twice, but with 2 swords, I can be into you for twice as much damage as normal, and most of the time, you don't even know I'm there because you're already dead. So that's why I do Florentine with Max. However, in a perfect world, I would still probably fight sword and shield. So that's all the questions for the LARP tag. As far as continuing on, if you're just starting a LARP channel or you're watching this in the future and you're getting a LARP channel up and going, consider yourself tagged by me, Max. Go ahead and make one of these videos. Keep the tradition going, okay? I'm not going to list any names, but imagine that there's a list of names here, and your name is on it. So you're tagged, make the video, and hopefully one day I'll watch it, learn a little bit more about you and your gaming experience. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, click like. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel. I have a lot more how-to and do-it-yourself projects coming out soon, and I hope you enjoy my content. And remember, as always, adventure on.
Bilbo. Here. This is about your size. I can't take this. But the receiver is elvish make, which means it'll glow blue when there's orcs or goblins nearby. I've never used a gun in my life. And I hope you never have to. But if you do, remember this. True courage is not about knowing when to take a life, but when to take all of them.